What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rebel Yankee Podcast, where it's God first, guts and guns. I'm your host, Jan Backus. And joining me today is a son of a king, a husband, the owner of Summit Strong, a hunter, and one of the sickest individuals I know, and you'll understand why later, Todd Zalinski. Welcome to the show, Todd.
It's nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Now, we are no stranger to doing a podcast together. You were on my work podcast. Yep. By the way, if you are in the trucking industry and you want to check out a cool podcast, it's just audio, but you could go to Podbean or Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's called the Channel 23 Podcast. It's a podcast for truckers, by truckers, and it's all about JFW trucking and things that we face. Anyway, Todd came on that podcast, and he was the first and only guest that we've had on that isn't involved in trucking and somehow. So
this is true.
And you did a great job. We're still talking about you. My buddy, Kentucky Tim, he heard that podcast and he always says, I'm a Todd Zalinski it. If he's talking about.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah. Right. So we'll get to more about you. On today's episode, we're going to talk about receiving strength from the Lord, because we're going to put God first. We're going to talk about fitness non-negotiables, because you have a big one. We're going to talk about nagging injuries, because you're no stranger to that, and I got some going on right now. We're going to talk about upcoming hunting seasons here in Colorado and possibly Wisconsin. And then we're going to talk about TikTok craziness. Yeah, but we're going to take care of kingdom business first, because in this podcast, we're always going to put God first. I want to do a little bit of a praise report. I had a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention her name. She listened to episode 2 last week, and I got a message from her, and it said, "Good podcast. I think I'm ready for God. I think it's time." So right there, this podcast has already been worth it to me. Here we are, episode 5. But man, some of the messages I got, just the little ways this little podcast has affected people's lives has been pretty amazing, and that makes it worth it to me. Likes and views and all that stuff is cool, but bringing people to God, that's where it's really at.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a chance to influence others and, help bring them closer to the Lord, I think that's a really important thing. Personally, it seems as of late, myself kind of reflecting back at my journey, and a lot of us ask the reason why are we here, and it's to give back and make the world a better place, right?
Amen.
There's no better place to start than God, because when you put something above yourself, especially God, right, things in your life start to improve dramatically.
I agree, and that's what this podcast is going to be about today.
It's great.
So I always like to talk about how God is moving in my life. I'll give you some examples, Todd, and then let's hear about how he's moving in your life. But this week, I would say God's continuing to bring joy and peace in my life, which has been a common theme since week 1 here. But I have been catching myself leaning more on myself and my own understanding and not enough on God. So I've been catching myself doing this, and being aware of it, which is pretty cool. And then it becomes really laughable, because then I realize wow, you know what? You don't need to do this on your own. You got God in your corner, and I'll tag him in and be like, all right, God, I forgot, hey, I'm going to give this to you and let's tackle it together. And it's he's my secret weapon. And then I start just saying a quick prayer about it. Let's say it's a people problem at work, or I don't like the way something's being handled. And I don't like the way it's being handled because it's not the way I would handle it. Right or wrong.
Always.
And then I'll get in my head a little bit and I'll be like, oh, wait a second. I don't need to control this.
Right.
I did my piece. God, I'm inviting you in. I'll pray about it. And then it's on him. So do you face similar things, Todd?
Every day.
Yeah.
I think everyone does, right? I mean, I was just listening to a podcast, I want to say yesterday, and we seem to always lean on our own understanding of stuff, right? And there was something really hit me. I can't remember who it was, but he was talking about God and people, right? And the big thing about God is we only understand God from our own understanding,
Mm.
which if we're all fallen children of God, which we are, right, from the beginning, that even the best version of we come up with for God isn't even close to what God's like.
Right.
Like he's so much more than even the best version or idea that you can come up with. And that's something that seems to be pretty profound, right? Like if you think of God as omnipotent and all powerful, and then you're like, well, but why do these bad things happen? It's because you're bad. We're all bad. We're all fallen children of God.
Mm.
So we can't even think. And it's just, that to me just blows my mind. Like you could sit there and ponder that question forever. What is God like? What is good about God? And then you have to then internally take your own battles and journeys and perspectives and say, well, I don't know what really good is like because I'm only this good.
Right.
Right. So I can only understand God's goodness from me. And we're just not even close to what God is.
Yeah, I never thought about that. And that is pretty amazing to think like our biggest thought of God isn't even how big he is. I did key on something you said though, like why do bad things happen to good people? And perhaps that would be another good subject for the podcast. But I heard you say because you're bad. So do you think bad things happen because you're bad, or you think bad things happen because there is evil in the world?
Right. Bad things happen in this world from that's Genesis 1.
Right.
Right? It's the falling of us from God's grace, right? He made a perfect thing. We did the apple, right? We sinned. Sin came in, created evil in the world.
Yep.
And because of that, no matter, there's in my opinion, there's only one person that was perfect on this world, and it was God himself when he came to earth as Jesus Christ. Right.
Amen.
And still, that's even Jesus is still just the human form of God. It's still not, you can look at Jesus as an example, but that's only a little tiny sliver of what God really is. Like he's so much bigger than even that, which is to me, again, it's one of those questions that when you're wrestling with some of the things that you're wrestling with, like your understanding can only be from a foundation of what you understand.
Right.
Sometimes that should take a little bit of a load off your shoulders to realize that you don't know everything.
Right.
Right. Even though you think you do, kind of like when you want to solve problems for other people because you think you know better than them, but you're not even them. And then there's God who's like so much bigger than all.
Right. He's better at it than we can
everything.
Ever be. Yeah.
Right?
That's why it's so nice to have him to just be like,
yeah,
here you go, Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. In regards to how I'm putting God first this week, I would say the conversations are different. Ever since this podcast started, there's definitely more God talks in my life. My circle is different, and some of the circle is the same, but some of it's more people, but the same Jesus. And I'm bumping into people where it's like, once I know you're a believer, and if you're sold out for Jesus, like, because there's people that believe like, yeah, I go to church, I believe in God.
Sure.
Then there's people that are sold out. And once I know you're sold out, it's like we just have this understanding, like, you're my people.
Right.
I'm beginning to focus or become more aware of doing things for his glory. Right. So everything that we do, it may be a simple thing like going to work, running your gym. We could do those things and do it for his glory. And I guess how I've been focusing on doing it for his glory is if you just are more upfront with your faith, and people see the way that you move, even in the workplace or wherever you're at, and they could be like, wow, I see what Todd's doing at Summit Strong.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it completely makes sense.
Cool.
That's living the example.
Yes.
Not just preaching the word.
Yep. All right, disclaimer. I am just a dude that loves the Lord. I encourage you all to open up your Bibles for yourself and dig into these verses and see what they mean to you. Your sin is no sinnier than my sin. And when I'm talking about things on this podcast, I'm talking to myself just as much, if not more, than I am to talking to anybody else. I'm not perfect, nor do I claim to be. And I know I'll never be. But man, it's fun trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this week I want to dive into Isaiah chapter 40, verse 29 to 31. And when I read this verse, Todd, you used to teach in kids ministry at Flatirons, correct?
Yeah, like 13 years.
For 13 years,
Yeah.
you taught kids ministry.
Taught kids.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What's so amazing too is I know Todd since 2008. I want to say. Probably Lowry days.
Yeah, 07, 08.
07,
Yeah,
08.
sure.
Okay. Todd was actually my boss, I think, at one point.
I was.
Yeah. Did you fire me?
No, I think you quit.
Okay, good. I was not a believer back then. Were you?
Oh, yeah, I was teaching.
You were teaching. So, yeah, Todd and myself, when we worked for 24 Hour Fitness, we never saw each other outside of work.
No,
we weren't like buds or
No.
friends. And it wasn't until years later that we became friends. And I didn't even know you were a believer. And then, you're at Flatirons and I'm at Flatirons and you've been teaching that for 13 years. That's crazy. So here's a verse and you'll be familiar, I'm sure. If not, I'm going to read it to you anyway. He gives power to the weak, and to those who have no might, he increases strength. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint.
Love it. It's actually in my gym.
That verse.
It's in my office.
On the wall? In a picture frame?
It's in the break room on a little placard right by the sink.
So it's so funny. I knew Todd was coming on the podcast, and we're going to talk about this weird habit that Todd has in a little while. But anyway, Todd is a runner.
Not a runner. But yes, I do run.
So Todd runs, and I was looking because I knew there was a few verses in the Bible about running.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was written by Paul, and that's the verse I thought I was going to pick, and it's in 2 Timothy where he's like, I ran a good race.
Oh, yeah.
But it's pretty much about, I'm done.
Yep.
Right? So I was like, that might not be the best for the podcast this week. I want to talk about something different and more empowering, right? Even though that 2 Timothy verse, man, that's becoming one of my favorite books is 2 Timothy.
2 Timothy.
Yeah. So anyway, then I saw this and, I seen it said run. I was like, all right, well, let me dig into it. And it really has nothing to do with running. It can,
sure,
the way you apply it to your life. But man, this verse right here, the first statement, the first line, Isaiah 40:29, the first scripture, he gives power to the weak and to those who have no might. I could just stop right there. I just read that and I thought of some people in my life that are struggling and that just feel like they're weak and they have no might left. And I was like, man, God can give you power. And when it talks about giving power to the weak, it's God gives strength to the ones that are worn out. If you've got nothing left inside of you, God will show up. But if you're about your own power and pride, don't count on him stepping in. His strength shows up when yours runs out. Okay, and that's kind of what I was talking about in the beginning. Like, I caught myself this week like, this isn't going the way I want it to go. And I started leaning on myself and I became prideful. God's not going to show up.
No.
But man, when I surrendered and said, I don't need to be strong here. I could give this to God. He'll step in with me, alongside me, and fight with me.
Yeah, that's a great reminder to people, right?
Yep.
So I think we all go through that, if not on a daily, a weekly, if not weekly, daily, monthly. It's going to come at some point, right?
Absolutely. And I'm not judging you, Todd, but like, I know you.
Yeah.
And I know how strong you are. And I know some of the battles that you faced. And I know how much will you have inside of you to do things.
Right.
I don't know that we ever talked about where do you get your strength from. I don't know. We never talked about, hey, Todd, like when you're doing these things, is it you doing it, or do you call on God and do you lean on him?
So I love that verse. One that has been hitting me, and I'm going to say this has been going on in my life for the last few months. It's Matthew 25. when Jesus is telling the parable of talents. I've taught this, I've taught this, I've heard it from a kid, and I never really understood it. And if you're not familiar with it, the gist of the verse is, that this, I think of it in my life as an investor, right? So like when I have to go out and raise money or whatever, or your boss or whatever it is, but it's a king basically. And he comes into town and he grabs a couple of his servants together and gives this one guy 5 talents. Right?
And what's a talent for the listeners?
I mean, a talent is a form of money, kind of, but to me, a talent is something that you're gifted with.
Okay.
So there's some people in this world that you look and you're like, oh man, I wish I was that person. They have so much going on for them. They can, they're great at MMA. Everything they have, like, look at all their talents, right? And he gives this person 5 talents and says, go out and do good work with this.
Right.
And he gives another one 2 talents and says, go out and do good work with this. And he gives another person just 1 talent and says, go out and do the work, right? And basically he comes back after a while to check on what these people did with these gifts he gave them. And, the one with the 5 comes back and he says, hey, great and powerful, or my investor, you gave me this 5, here's 5 more. And
10.
Yeah, he made it 10, right? He doubled up his talents, right? Like, just hit it out of the ballpark. And, the king is amazed by this. And it's like, thank you, I'm going to give you more. Because you did good work, I'm now willing to even give you more. Second one with the 2 talents is the same thing. Went out, doubled it, brings back 4. Same thing. King is happy, right? Gives him more talents after the 4. So it doesn't only does he give back the king a return in his investment, but then he's gifted more stuff. Right. And the person with just 1 talent was so afraid to lose that talent that he buried it. Right. And the king was like, you didn't even put it in the bank. Like, you should have at least brought it back like 1.1 and I would have been happy. But instead the king is like, you know what? You didn't use what I gave you. And because of that, I'm throwing you out into weeping and gnashing of teeth. So like, essentially, I feel like what happens with a lot of us, I see it with clients, I see it with friends, I see it, I see it everywhere in the world right now, right? Where people, they have a gift or a talent and they don't use it. And instead of using that, life gets way worse. So when I sit back and I don't have the power, or I don't feel like I have the strength, like what we were talking about with Isaiah, it's kind of like, dude, you've been given so much. You better get your ass out there and use it.
Right.
Right? Or the circumstances, the repercussions of not using your gifts is literally hell. Like, you are going to go down a very destructive path very fast in your life. So for whatever reason, that verse just sticks with me every day. And I can run. I don't like to run. I do it because it's something that is hard. Life is hard. And I think when you force yourself to do hard things every day, when those hard things that come up that are unexpected, that you don't have control with, you can be like, yeah, but I just did something hard.
Right.
I overcame something hard. I know what hard feels like. I know what quitting feels like. But if you don't use those talents, man, I'm telling you, like, every single person listening to this out there in the world walking, they have something to give back, right? They've been given a gift of life, which is a gift. They have a soul. God loves them. And like, you've got to find that thing and go and get off your ass. Use it. And if you don't use it, there's going to be repercussions. So when you ask like, how, yeah, man, I mean, every day, I don't want to do it.
Right.
But it's better when it's done.
Sure. Yep. We talked about last week that people are waiting for God to give them these gifts, but they're not using the gifts that he's already given them.
Right.
They're waiting for like this big like reveal of, oh, I just gave you this spiritual gift, but it's like you got to kind of look at the gifts you already received and use those. The next part of this verse, it says youths. I sound like, what was that movie? the two Utes, shall be faint and be weary. So the ones who think they're strong end up hitting a wall.
Always.
Right? And that could be us when we forget who we are and we think we're strong. God gives the strength to the ones that they know they can't do it without him. Right? So the part of this verse that had me curious is where it says, but those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. What do you mean wait on the Lord? Like, how do we wait on the Lord? So waiting on the Lord isn't necessarily just sitting around hoping he shows up. It's not being lazy to wait on the Lord. It's about chasing after him, leaning into him, and not trying to muscle through it on our own. Right? One of my favorite sayings is God feeds all birds, but he doesn't throw the food in their nest. Right?
Right.
They got to go out and get the food, but they'll have to wait on the Lord for him to provide that food, but it's not showing up in the nest, right? Waiting on the Lord means moving with faith, not just waiting for a handout.
Yeah, right? It's exactly hits the nail on the head what we kind of were talking about, right? That you have the tools to go out and do. Sitting in your bedroom, kneeling next to your bed for 3 days isn't going to change your circumstances, right? That's not, I personally, like, I'm not anywhere qualified to give people advice, just so you know.
Listen, don't follow me or Todd because we don't know where we're going.
Yeah, but to me, like, sitting on, if you're not working and you're not persevering through the things, I'm not saying don't pray, but what I'm saying is you can't pray only.
Right.
You have to do. That's the whole point of that, right? You have to do and wait on the Lord to give you the lift.
Yeah, waiting on the Lord to me, after reading through this and digging into it, is waiting on the Lord could be waking up every day and going to do something, waiting for it to bear fruit.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like, you know what, Lord, it could be in the gym, right? I keep showing up to the gym and I'm working out and I'm working out and I'm working out, and I've hit a plateau. Sometimes you got to wait, but if you don't keep going, you're not going to get the results, or if you start a new business or like this podcast, for example, like Trevor, one of the producers, right? When I started, when we shook hands and decided we're going to do this, he said, listen, you need to be prepared to come in and podcast once a week to nobody. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, let's say nobody listens. You got to come back next week and do it again. Are you willing to do that?
Right.
Yeah, I'll keep coming and podcasting to myself. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But maybe one day somebody's going to listen.
Who knows?
Who knows, right? So that's the way I see it. And then renew our strength. What do you know about that, Todd? Let's go to you first.
Go to me first on renewing the strength?
Yeah.
It's exactly saying it's just what you said. I'm going to echo it to a standpoint. It's the grind, man. It's getting up every day when you don't want to, not giving up on your hopes and dreams, but knowing that if you continue to control what you can control, you do the work that you can do, whether you want to or not, that eventually that will bear fruit. It might not be exactly what you thought it was going to be, but something good is going to happen from work. I am not a scripture ninja, but one of my favorite scriptures, I believe, is in Proverbs, that no hard work will go unrewarded.
And you reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow, right? To some extent. So yeah, you can't get blessing. I mean, I think God can do anything, miracles.
Sure.
But you can't God is not a genie in a bottle.
Right.
You don't get to rub the Bible, read a few verses, like, oh, I really like that verse. Wake up the next day and your life is completely changed. I mean, it happens. There's examples of it.
Right.
But for most of us,
can't expect that.
No, that's not how life works.
Right.
You got to put in the work.
Absolutely. Also, God doesn't just give us strength one time and that's it. Right? Renewing that strength means he gives us fresh strength, like a refill almost, like, oh, gas tank ran out. Well, you could go and you renew our strength. When you go back to him, worn out and empty, just like when we first came to him, worn out and empty, right? He will renew your strength. It happens when we wait on him, when we trust him, and we stop trying to do it ourselves.
I agree.
Nice. Mount up with wings like eagles. Like I've looked at this verse before when I was all into raptors and birds of prey and stuff like that. And there's not a lot of mention of eagles in the Bible, as far as I know. Like,
no, not much at all. Yeah. Very few.
And that just means we'll be able to fly above it all, like above everything. And then the last part of the verse, they shall run and not be weary, walk and not be faint. This is the kind of strength that God gives, not for us to flex and not to show it off, but it's strength to keep going, to move forward with him when life's tough. And it's not for standing still, but for walking it out. God doesn't give strength so we could sit around looking strong.
Yeah, amen to that, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's the verse for the week. That's what I picked out for you being on the show.
Right.
Anytime I pick out a verse, it's weird. I feel like I'm going to go down one path, and it takes me down a complete different path. And that's what I've been loving about these scriptures and digging in.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of interesting how that works when you start to, I think, take on a role of leadership to a standpoint, which you essentially are with your new platform of now things that you thought meant one thing or that were intended for one. When you start to get into the whole idea of Scripture and what it's all about, you almost gain a different understanding.
Oh, you start peeling back the onion, man.
Right?
It's just like, yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, you could just start like holding your head because it's like unbelievable. And there's some really great commentators out there. I was mentioning to you earlier, right. David Guzik, he's one of my favorites. And you know what I want to talk about before we move on, Todd, is you and I had a really good conversation about church. You know, you're a Flatirons guy, used to be a Flatirons guy, currently go to Red Rocks, and we were just talking about the type of message these churches put out.
Right.
And this isn't a shot. I've been to other, they'll call them like new age churches, you know what I mean? Life Church, or, they're always going to put a message out there where a new believer feels welcome. And that's amazing, right? There was a point where I became like a sermon snob almost, where it's like, I wanted to go in and I wanted to feel like the pastor knew I was coming. He was on alert and he prepared a sermon for my ears.
Right.
And there was days where I would walk into the church and feel that way, like, wow, how'd they know I was going to be here today? But then as you go to church more and more, those messages get a little fewer and further between, perhaps, where, oh, you know what? I already heard this message. You know what I mean? But we need to hear these messages all the time. And the messages aren't always designed for me, Jan Backus, or you, Todd Zalinski.
Right.
They could be designed for the person who was scared to work in the church that day. And by them hearing this message, they're going to become a believer and follower of Christ. But how do we get through that? And what we were discussing is, I love being part of the church and I love Red Rocks because I get good community there. Whether I feel that the message is talking directly to me or not, I have a group of people there that I have community with. And then you have the worship, which should be done with other people. And, where there's two or more, God will be present also. So there is a benefit no matter what, whether you feel the message is for you or not. If you listen close enough, I feel like the message is always going to be for you. But also, there's so many other ways to fill your cup.
Yeah, I think it's, now I'm speaking from a standpoint where I was regularly, especially when I was teaching, regularly attending church, because I think it's hypocritical to teach and to not attend.
I would agree.
To some extent, it's hypocritical to even say that, depending on who listens and is thinking about this, to be like, well, you're a son of God and you're talking about God and you're speaking from your opinions in somewhat of an authoritative standpoint right here, but you don't regularly attend. And I would be like, no, I really don't regularly attend. And like you're saying, church is meant, the one thing that you said that kind of dawned on me right there, church is meant to bring you into a new community, right? Because you're not going to run in to that like-minded Christian belief system in the real world. But when you're at church, you will.
Well, you mean in this world?
Well, yes. In your everyday world, though, right? Like you didn't even know you didn't know I was a Christian even when you were working for me, right? So my point is that there's a lot of people that we live. You should always live as a Christian, but we don't openly like have Christian conversations with everyone we come across, and that's okay. But when you're in church as a community, that gives you the opportunity to bump into those people, and then to meet people like how you and I met, and have deeper conversations on things in Scripture that help you bring you closer to God. So, yeah, that's one I wrestle with too, right? Like going to church is so important, but you might be at a stage that you don't always walk out filled, and if you don't, though, that's not on God or the church.
Right.
You know, you got to cut. That's where you look. What am I doing outside to get that extra richness? Are you listening to some of the people you talked about? Are you seeking out listening to other churches' sermons?
Sure.
Small groups is another great thing that.
Small groups are great.
I mean, it's really great. If you can get into a group of like 3 or 4 people and just bounce ideas, you come up like just talking about Scripture today, right? Yep. You start to, didn't think of it that. That's new.
Yeah, small groups is super important, and that's something I haven't been a big part of. Ryan, my buddy Ryan Resch from Bighorn, him because Bighorn or die.
Yeah,
Todd's
man,
a
love
customer.
That place, absolutely. Every gun I own.
There you go.
Yeah.
We were thinking about doing something. Flatirons have the fire pits, but I'm thinking about having a fire pit at my house.
Yeah.
And just bringing over some of the boys.
Yeah, the way to do it.
Doing this, One thing you said that I think, it's not wrong because it's your life and you're living it, right? I'm trying to make it where we do have these Christian talks with non-believers. It's the angle's got to be right. We've talked about it on this show before. Like, you don't want to, shove it down somebody's throat or hit somebody over the head with a Bible, because that's not how you do it. But especially at my job, we have 150 employees there, and I'm finding, again, I don't just shove it down people's throats, but people want to hear about God. Some people do. They want to. They want that spiritual connection. They want to know God. They don't know how to start or where to start. Or they thought like people that love God are nerds, and then they see like, well, Todd's not a little bit. Yeah, Todd's not a nerd. Look at him. Just because he runs doesn't make him a nerd.
Just crazy. Well, yeah. I mean, whatever.
Just sick in the head.
But no, you're absolutely right. And I think everybody, even people that think they don't believe in God, whether it's Jesus or not, they just don't think there is a God, that you're just living in chaos, haven't had an opportunity to talk with someone that believes in God.
Right.
Because they just haven't come to that aha moment yet. Like, wait a second. When I look at all these things in the world, it's a pretty hard stretch for you to not go, no. There's something more here. There's creation somewhere wrapped in this.
Right.
The cool thing is being a hunter, spending a lot of time in the wilderness. You can't spend time in the wilderness camping and away from civilization and look up at stars in the sky and say, boy, that's just random chance.
Boom.
Right? Or, watching interaction of animals in the wild. Like that's a different,
man.
It's a different, like it's different. It's eye-opening. It's an awakening. And a lot of times we get so self-absorbed that it's hard with all the distractions in the world to take time to sit back and be like, wait a second, why is this all there?
Man, when you get out in creation, for me, if I go on a hike or I'm driving the mountains and I get to feel small, and I look at the world and the creation like, wow, that becomes overwhelming to me sometimes, and it really just drives home everything.
Yeah, it's just a sliver.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And the peace and the quiet of a hunting trip.
Yeah, it's intense.
Good stuff, Todd. All right, let's change gears a little bit. We're going to change gears to Todd Zalinski.
Oh.
All right. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm the owner of a gym in downtown Denver, 925 Lincoln Street, located in the Beauvalon building, big fancy building on the second floor. I own a gym named Summit Strong.
Nice.
Founded in 2021. We just moved into our new 13,000 foot location.
Square feet.
Yep. Sorry.
I was going to say, that's really tall.
13,000 square foot facility within the building. Yeah, it's great. I mean, the phrase that has been kind of coined is like, it's really unlike any other. We have, it's a weightlifting gym, not a lot of machines, but we have a full operating recovery room with steam room, infrared sauna, Morozco Forge, cold plunge, 33 degrees.
The what? The
Morozco Forge. It's the same one Joe Rogan uses.
Oh,
name drop Joe Rogan, because that's what he uses. And then
he listens.
Yeah. Set up, man. It looks just like we're on Joe Rogan without Joe Rogan. And then a regular dry sauna that's set at about 200. So everything's set in there to optimize recovery, recuperation. It's kind of the big thing that fitness is moving towards. It's not just about getting in the gym, breaking down muscle. It's also, what are you doing to keep yourself healthier longer, right?
Gotcha. Did you say you have recovery boots in there as well?
Yes.
Okay, so you got boots, cold plunge, steam room, sauna,
regular sauna, and infrared.
Okay, yep. The red light. Gotcha. Been hearing a lot of things about red light. I actually joined a tanning salon for the red light.
Oh, the red light bed.
Yeah, they have a stand-up red light, and then they have this thing called, not the cocoon, but the pod.
Yes.
And the pod, you get in there for 20 minutes, it's red light, and you sweat.
It's hot.
It's hot, yeah. Okay. But not as hot as a sauna, I don't feel like. I feel like when I go in a sauna, I sweat a lot more.
Yeah, the infrared saunas are a little different than red light, but the infrared, obviously using infrared radiation, right? So your red light therapy is going to be a little different.
Gotcha.
That's more of like skin and eye health. Mm-hmm. And then infrared is different wavelengths, right? Coming from an electrical infrared panel.
Gotcha.
So that is also a little cooler. Like the infrared saunas, max temperature is like maybe 180. Typically they're like 140, 150, not super hot.
Gotcha.
Right? But then the dry sauna, that's where you suffer. Yeah. That's heat shock protein stuff. You're in there at 200 degrees trying to last as long as you can.
Heat shock protein.
Heat shock protein.
Tell me about that.
So heat shock proteins, no, I'm not Andrew Huberman or Peter Attia or any of those scientists, doctor gurus, but essentially when your body gets super hot or cold, right, you release different proteins to try to protect yourself because you think you're dying. I mean, it feels like it if you're sitting in that thing for 20 minutes, right? Like it's not comfortable. But it's proven to increase, cardiovascular health. Like it's shown to improve endurance performance. Also decrease the risk of heart attack by up to 89%. Like pretty significant results just from sitting in a super hot sauna for 20 minutes, 3 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah, like core mortality from heart attacks goes down drastically.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting. Now the cold plunge, it's a one-person unit?
One-person unit.
Okay. And then how do you, this is just a weird question.
No, good question.
Like, how do you keep it clean?
So the cool thing with the Morozco Forge is it has ozone, an ozone filtration system. So it's a combination of, we use Epsom salts, right? So you're actually grounded when you're in there. So you're getting grounding effects as if you were walking barefoot outside. And then the ozone breaks down any bacteria, fungus, whatever. And then the water's changed usually at least once a month, completely drained, put back in, more Epsom salts. But it has a complete filtration system, just like
so
basically.
It's like a pool.
Oh yeah. It circs like almost like a hot tub to a point of like you cannot get a thermal barrier. So a lot of times when you sit in a cold tub, like a trough,
Right.
your body heat will create a barrier. This is circulating. There is no cold barrier. And the reason why we only have one is because I don't know too many people. I'll sit in there for 4 minutes is usually kind of my time that I go for. But I have not seen anyone sit in that thing for more than 5 minutes. It's intense. Yeah.
Wow.
The first time I got in it, I lasted 30 seconds.
Really?
I was in and I'm like, F this.
I wasted money. Nobody's going to want this.
This is crazy.
How often do people use that?
It's pretty popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they say the time of cold exposure that is the most health beneficial is at least 11 minutes a week.
Okay.
So however you get there, whether it's a couple 1 minute plunges or, 4, like I try to get 4 to 5 4-minute plunges, or I can do 4 3-minute plunges, whatever you need. That 11-minute mark kind of is where they show health benefits.
11 minutes
a week.
So you're in it every day?
I'm at least 4 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're 5 days?
Sometimes 5 days.
Okay.
It depends.
Yeah.
And I go off and on, man. I'll be honest. Running's hard, but getting in that cold water can be harder some days, even though it's only 4 minutes.
Huh. So what about, when you do the cold plunge, do you go hot and cold? Do you use the sauna at the same time? Is that
Good question. So ideally you would do, first of all, you don't want to do cold after a workout. Okay. So if you're lifting weights, you don't want to go jump in that cold tub. It's like taking a bunch of ibuprofen, right? So you're breaking down muscle tissue. You're creating an inflammatory response in the body. You want that, right? If you jump right in that cold plunge after lifting weights, you are going to decrease some of the results you're going to get as far as hypertrophy go, right? So if you're looking to maximize strength and hypertrophy, you're going to decrease that. Now, for you and I that are just trying to like live longer, feel better, stay healthy, how much are you really losing? Not a lot. But if you're training for peak performance, you do not want to lift weights and jump in that cold tub. You should be waiting like 3 to 4 hours post so that all the, everything that you just did, your body has that time to respond and start the healing process before you go and take that inflammation away. If you want to use heat post-workout, that is good.
Okay.
Because that improves circulation, right? It will make you more sore, though. You do have to understand that. So heat post-workout does increase muscle soreness. So you will experience some more intense DOMs.
Okay, so let's say, perfect world, I just live at the gym.
Right.
Work out 5 a.m., kill it, jump in the sauna, shower, got more muscle soreness, but then I do a cold plunge later that day.
Yeah, that works too, right?
And that kind of takes the soreness out,
it takes some of that out, right? One of the best things to do if you want to experience a real euphoric state because of the amount of dopamine that's released from cold plunging is you go hot, long as you can, 20 minutes if you can, 5, 10 minutes, whatever, cold, back to hot, back to cold. If you can get 3 rounds, you're going to walk out feeling like a new human being. Like it's amazing.
Are there any adverse side effects or dangers with the cold plunge or doing this back and forth with the heat?
If you have blood pressure issues, heart issues, you got to, talk to your doctor. Although the heat has shown, it really depends on medication and health, right?
Gotcha.
Like you need to know what's going on in your body. If you have blood pressure things, you don't want to jump right in that cold plunge. You don't want to go sit in that sauna so long that you're going to pass out, right? Like you got to be able to listen to your body. But yeah, always finish. The best way is no matter how you're going to do it, ideally you always finish cold. You never want to go from the cold back into the hot just because it makes it warm up better. You want your body to have to respond to cold to increase that circulation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me more about the culture of Summit Strong. What's so different or great about your gym?
Yeah, good question. It's a community gym. I worked and grew up at 24 Hour Fitness. That's where we met, right? Lot of machines, lot of I call them fitness groupies, right? People that are just in there either to be seen or to see others sometimes.
Sure.
Summit's a little bit different. It's a community feel. And I really can't put my finger on how it became that or why it's that. Blessing from God. It's a community gym, man. It's just like a lot of like-minded individuals in there just wanting to get after it.
So a lot of athletes in there?
I would say it's more average, everyday people.
Okay.
Few athletes.
Just serious about
it's just people that really wanna get better.
Nice.
They want fitness is something that's really important to these folks.
Nice. How many trainers do you have in there?
Currently on staff, we have 8 trainers.
Now, are they doing booth rentals or do they work for you?
Combination of both.
Okay.
Yep, combination of both.
Gotcha. Did you guys do group fitness training or individual?
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah. The cool thing about Summit too is we have an cardiologist. So if you want to get your VO2 max done,
Really?
you want an echocardiogram, the whole thing, 7 lead test. Like it's like a Gatorade commercial.
Wow.
You got to put that thing on there. It's gonna take you. It's horrible. I did one last year.
VO2 max?
Yeah, it's horrible. It's the worst thing. It's the hardest thing I probably have ever done.
Really?
Yeah, you go on a treadmill. They put this mask on there, and you have to run until you can't run anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So they're trying to get your heart to go as high as it can, and then you get to stop.
So do they give you a MET score?
It gives you the whole readout, everything. So
Okay.
you're gonna get your resting metabolic rate. You're gonna get all that stuff. Yep. You're gonna see your EKG. Is there anything going on with your heart?
How long were you on that for? Because I think the more in shape you are, the longer the test will take. No.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's kind of relative because the protocol, it ramps you up pretty fast.
Oh, okay.
So it puts you at like, I don't know. I think I might have started at like 6.5 speed, but then 6.5 miles an hour, but then it slowly ramps you up. So you're not just running flat. You're also speeding up and increasing your elevation.
Man, you started at 6.5. That's where I would stop.
I didn't make it that long. I don't remember my exact time, but it was rough. However, I did score pretty high, which was kind of cool.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. I need to look into that because I know CSU does it all the way up in Fort Collins. But man, Summit Strong does it right in Denver.
Strong does it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to carve out some time to come down there and do that.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Dr. Yesman, cardiologist, great guy, does some really good work in there. And then we also have a physical therapist.
Okay.
So specializing in pelvic floor treatment and dry needling, which I love. Huge
pelvic floor?
Pelvic floor specialist. So a lot of people have core issues. We were talking not to sidebar too far, but things with like your low back. She's a guru at figuring out, oh, maybe this is coming from an abdominal wall, right? I had never had my psoas needled through my abdomen before, because
sounds fine.
It's a hard muscle to get to, and she's like, yeah, you're gonna feel 3 different muscle groups. First is your rectus abdominis. So this, I wasn't allowed to look at the needle
because it was
like this one,
right,
dude. And then she's like, oh, did you feel that? Now that's your oblique. And now I think I'm in his psoas. And to find out, I'm going to hook an electrode on it. And your leg is going to twitch. And I was like, oh, you're sweating. You've had dry needling done.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
I love it and I hate it.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of it's terrible, but ultimately the juice is worth the squeeze. If you could tolerate some pain for a little while for the greater good, you will be better because of dry needling.
Yes, I agree 100%. I personally prefer dry needling over deep tissue massage, because a dry needling session is maybe 20 minutes, and your massages, when I do them, they're 90 minutes, and for 90 minutes I'm in agony because I'm just getting tortured.
Right, you could get done in 5 minutes.
Right,
what a deep tissue massage will take. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm a big proponent of dry needling. Love it.
And then lastly, we also have a chiropractor there.
Oh.
So it's a one-stop shop. You have stuff going on, you're working out hard, you need rehabilitation, you have some aches and pains, you go see those guys. All Summit members get discounts from them.
Wow.
Yeah, they operate within the facility, which is great.
That is awesome. So your chiro doesn't do the dry needling? The girl, the lady?
The physical therapist.
The physical therapist does. Got it.
Yes.
All right, Todd. Let's talk about some fitness non-negotiables.
Okay.
Like for me, just going to the gym's a non-negotiable. Like, I talk to my workout partner. I'll ask him, "Hey, what do we do when we tired?" He says, "We do it tired." Right? There's very little that's going to prevent me from going to the gym, except for work, of course. If I can't break away because I go during lunch, if we're busy, I can't sacrifice my job for my workout. Right? And then sleep's also important, but it's pretty much a non-negotiable for me to stay in the gym 4 to 6 days a week.
Okay.
Right. And there's very little that's going to make me be like, yeah, I'm not going. I mean, I'll work through injuries, whatever it takes. Right. What is your non-negotiable?
Yeah. This is not a professional fitness advice. I don't give this to any of my clients or anyone listening out there. I run every single day. Rain, snow, sunshine, sick, doesn't matter. On vacation, don't care.
So when Todd says he runs every day, he has ran for 2,018 days straight. And if you want me to do some quick math for you, that's 5.52 years of running every single day. He already said rain or shine, snow or sleet. Flu? Have you had the flu in round?
Recently, I want to say I had food poisoning. I was up from 11 p.m. until 4 a.m. throwing up. Couldn't keep anything down, coming out both ends. Slept till 1 p.m. from like 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. Got up and went running.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is why I say Todd is the sickest individual I know, because running, unless you love it, you don't love it. And Todd doesn't love it, but he does it.
Yes.
And I mean, when I think of you in running, I mean, you have a Nobody Cares Work Harder shirt. You got your Keep Hammering hat on. Those are both Cameron Haynes, like branding.
Right.
I always think of David Goggins.
That's where it came from.
Right. I mean, he's sick.
Yeah.
But I don't know him. I know you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more. So, okay, so you already told us Whiskey Face Dinner. What keeps you going? Like, why do you do this?
Well, it's always best to say, how did this start, right?
How did it start?
So it started as a 90-day challenge, right? It was to raise money after Christmas for like struggling families, single mothers. After Christmas, it's usually a hard time, right? Have a lot of debt or whatever. So it was a 50-day challenge, and it was or a 50 run challenge in 90 days. So basically, if you ran 5 days a week for 90 days, you'd get 50 runs. And I was like, yeah, that's a cool challenge, but let's do 90 for 90, right? Like, why 50? Why have 2 days off? Like, let's make this hard. And it was a 5K. So this challenge started out was just run a 5K, 3.1 miles. If you're beginning running, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Start flat, right? It's going to mess you up. But if you have a little bit of a base, a 5K is a pretty easy run for the most part. So you get to day 90, and I sprained my ankle, I don't know, probably day 20. So I was running on a sprained ankle through most of that challenge, which was fun. Once you get to 90, you're like 10 more days to get to 100. You got to get to 100. Then you hit 100, and you're like, well, shit, 265 more days, and now I got a whole year under my belt. And it's an accumulation effect. So it was like, well, now I hit 365. Why can't I do another year? Now you're at 600. You're like, oh, that doesn't seem like it's that far from 1,000, but wait a second. That's 2 more years. So you just keep going. And then you hit 1,000 days, and you're like, well, you've done that much work. So it's a snowball effect of hard work. And again, if I stop tomorrow, or if I stopped at 2,000, that takes 5 more years to create that streak again. Right. So I don't know. When will it end? It's going to end at some point. I just don't know when.
So the day that you had food poisoning and you threw up all night and you were up sick, and then you went to bed and you woke up, how far did you run that day? Like, do you say, all right, I'm going to run a quarter mile and check the box?
At least a 5K.
So you run at least, what is that, 3.2 miles?
3.1.
3.1. So at least your minimum run per day is 3.1 miles.
5K.
Okay.
Recently, I've not run less than 4.5 a day.
Okay.
I think there was 2021, I averaged over 7 miles a day. That was my biggest year so far, year to date.
Wow. That's my long run ever in my entire life was 7 miles.
7.
I hated 6.5 of them.
Yeah.
Now I've been watching because I am interested in running a little bit, not like that. I'd like to be able to. I think everybody needs to be able to run, and this has to do with my self-defender mentality.
Right.
This has to do with being able to protect people. You should be able to run 1.5 miles,
right,
without a problem.
Agreed.
Well, I don't run, so I can't check that box. So I want to start running again, but I've been watching a lot of videos on proper technique and stuff, and it's like, wow, there's actually a way to do this, and they make it look easy. Like and I'm gonna sound like a jerk for this, but I mean, sometimes you'll see a short of like, an Ethiopian guy running, making it look like it's like he's running on clouds.
Yeah, effortless
with
no shoes
and
on.
the gait, and it's just like it's beautiful to watch. Like it's like, wow, he can run like a gazelle,
right?
And then there's me, all sloppy concrete shoes. What kind of runner are you?
I don't know. I just do it.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, I was an athlete in college, so I know how to sprint and I know how to run, and I do run more I'm more of a 4-foot striker, so I don't heel toe.
Nice.
But some of those long distance guys are heel to toe, and I don't think I'm not an expert on running just because I run every day. I've trained runners, I've trained athletes, I've taught people how to get faster. I know how to coach sprinting. Distance running, don't come to me. I'm not helping you set any world records, right? Like I don't even train right. Like I don't have a training regimen.
Right.
I can help you get in shape for a triathlon, or if you want to run a marathon, like there's ways to do it, not like how I do it, right? Mm-hmm. That are safer and effective, but you've got to really kind of figure out what works for your body, right? You're not built like I am. I've got these short, little, stocky legs. I don't look like I should be able to run.
You look like you should be a linebacker.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I shouldn't be running miles and miles and miles. So shoes are super important. I probably have 6 pairs of shoes at all times that I'm rotating through just because of the amount of miles. You don't want to be putting on more than, you start putting on 600 to 1,000 miles on a pair of shoes, they're wearing out pretty quick. Usually I tell people if you're running 3 to 4 days a week, you should be changing your shoes out every 3 to 4 months.
Well, hold on a second. Oh, so wear 1 pair of shoes for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, but so I run every day, so I have a bunch of different shoes that I rotate.
Why? Why not the same one, and when they get wore out, just put on a new pair?
You could do it like that, but I like to have different shoes give you a little different feel for the day, right?
Okay.
So like sometimes I'll run in carbon fiber. I made a mistake I think where my body really broke down was that year I was trying to average 6.5 miles a day, which is like 200 miles a month plus. And I was running solely in carbon fiber shoes.
Never even heard of that.
Super light, super springy. So they have a carbon fiber plate in the bottom of the sole. And it's great for distance running because it's returning a lot of energy. However, because they're so springy, your muscles have to adapt to that shock absorption. Kind of like if you've ever been on a gymnastic floor and you have that spring underneath you, it's almost like it almost has a feel to that. It feels great on your run, but if you're doing it consecutive days, it can be pretty tough on you. So you've got to be smart about shoe selection.
Got it. Now let me ask you this, Todd. You roll your ankle.
Yep.
Right? It's bad.
Yep.
You going to go run?
I'm going to go run.
Now, do you worry about causing more damage to your ankle because you're running? Do you not think like, oh, you know what? I rolled my ankle. It's swollen. I might have really done some damage here. I should maybe I even broke some of the small bones in my foot. I probably shouldn't run. Or do you just say, we're going to run?
Again, I don't recommend this, but yeah, I just go run. No, listen, I've had injuries, right? So I'll still get my miles in, and it might be 10-minute miles that day. might be 11-minute miles. I'm not running my, 7:30, 8:30. For a minute there, I was under 7-minute miles.
That's
I haven't been able to get back to that for a while, but there was days I'd feel good and I could get, 6.5 miles and be under 7 minutes. So now a good day is if I'm under 8. If I'm running under 8, I'm feeling pretty good about things. Sometimes when I go back to Wisconsin and I'm deer hunting, I'll get out of the stand in the middle of the day and I'll go for a run and I can hit at sea level or close to sea level. My stepdad is always like, it's not sea level. We're 800 feet above. And I'm like, well, still 5,000 feet lower than what I'm used to running at.
Right.
But sometimes I can break that 7 minute.
Stand in my.
Yep. So it just depends kind of, what you're doing. But yeah, if you're injured, slow down. I do somewhat listen to my body, but a lot of times it's kind of like, and the mentality or the thought process behind it is
stupid foot.
Well, you're going to face things in life that you're not going to want to do because you just don't, it's not perfect. Shit's hard. You're going through stuff. And again, I feel like if you're able to put yourself in hard situations under your own power, when outside circumstances hit your life, you're having a bad financial month, you're having bad relationships, things that you maybe can't control. If you have enough self-discipline to go through hard things every day in your own life, you can take some of those little wins that you're getting on a daily basis, even if it's 30 minutes, and that's going to help you get through that adversity in life.
I like it. What does your wife think about all this running?
I don't think I have anyone in my circle that supports what I do, which makes me want to do it more.
Just so you know, I do support it. I give you a lot of crap because it's crazy, and I respect it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like to me, you're no different than David Goggins. Like I'll watch one of his videos. I'm like, Todd does that. I mean, you're not running 150 miles, but
no,
you haven't missed it. Like I get it. And to me, I understand it's more of a mental thing of doing hard things. Sometimes I feel like I do hard things, but it ain't that hard and that consistent.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's come to a point now where like, it's something if I stop, I don't think I could achieve this again.
Right.
And in the back of my mind, I was thinking about this today because I knew we were going to talk about it. So on my run today, I did 5, just a little over 5. And it's like, well, how long is it going to take me to get to 3,000 or 4,000? So I'll be 50 by the time I hit 3,000 miles.
Wow.
Right? So it's kind of like, well, at that point, I might want to start to like reconsider things. Right?
Okay.
You don't know.
Right.
But then there's people like Cam Haynes. I think he's 55 or 56.
Doesn't look it.
And he runs 250 miles.
A month?
No, in one time with a broken foot. He just did it. The Cocodona 250 with a broken foot.
Wow.
5th metatarsal completely fractured.
Wow.
He shot, I don't know how many bull elk this past season, 5 or 6.
Wow.
With a broken foot and packed them out himself.
That's crazy.
Like yeah.
There's levels.
Like there's levels, and it's like David Goggins too. Like his knees have been literally like sawed off. So he can still try to run and do, he's a one of those parachute firefighters.
Oh, okay.
Jumps out of the airplanes and they just
goes fight fires.
Goes and fights fires.
For fun.
He doesn't need to.
Yeah, he's different. I heard I think it was Cam Haynes on Joe Rogan was telling a story. The first time he saw David Goggins, they were doing this ultra run.
Yeah.
And they started off kind of together and they would chit chat a little bit. And then David Goggins had to like stop to fix his shoe or something.
Yep.
And Cam and his partner kept going.
Yep.
And Cam started thinking like, I wonder if this David Goggins is for real. Because usually when people fall off, that's it. You don't see him again.
You don't stop. You don't start again.
And then he ended up like passing them.
Taking his shirt off in 32-degree, like cold Oregon weather.
Right.
Yelling at himself.
Yeah, they don't know me.
You don't know me, son.
They don't know me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different level, man. And it's kind of cool to think that just through willpower and determination that you can accomplish things that you may never think you could do. And that's where I go back to that thing of talents. Like,
Right.
yeah, maybe your talent's just willpower. Like David Goggins was fat, ridiculed, came from nothing. Like he's got 2 books, and his first book is, man, you listen to his childhood and you're like, how did he do what he did? How does he keep doing it day in and day out? And it's like, I think he ran 100 weeks of 100-mile races.
Wow. That's
100 weeks.
I think that would kill people.
Yeah. It's something insane like that. 100-mile race. Like they say that you should take a month off of running after you do a marathon.
Right. Oh, that's crazy. You bring God on these runs with you?
Sometimes I have to. But yeah, I mean, I think that's another thing for me. Running is a time and space away from life, right? I have to disconnect when I run. Like it's just me and my watch and music and thoughts. So there's a lot of reflection. Sometimes it's hard to reflect depending on how the run's going. I think I mentioned this the last time I was on with you for the JFW podcast, but truly about 1 out of every 10 runs is like feels good. So 10 out of every 100, where you actually like you run out and you're like, wow, I feel good today.
10%.
It's about 10%.
Wow.
The rest of them you're hurting at some point, wanting to quit. But there is a lot of times, there's moments where you're able. There's like mental clarity. You get into a rhythm and you can really start to think about stuff that's going on, whether it's work stuff, family stuff, God stuff. So there's some clarity and other days it's just, how do I finish this?
Got it. You had said something on the last podcast. I asked you, what's been your hardest day so far?
Yesterday.
I thought you said today.
Today. Probably today. I mean, tomorrow, right? Every day has its own challenges. I now have a client that has started to push me, which I don't know if I like this or not. But his new thing is, so I started this, I think the second year, where on Christmas Eve I do a half marathon. Just for fun, no what, and I do it again. Don't recommend this. This isn't something anyone should go do. So it's like no water. You're just gonna go run a half marathon. And he now is like, we got to step this up. Like we can't just keep doing half marathons. And I'm like, what?
Is that 12-1?
13.2.
13.2?
13.1.
Yeah, 26.2
is a full. So he's like, we got to start stepping it up. So, and he's like, we need to do it twice a year. So June, we went out and I was like, you know what, man, we're going to go into deep water. Like, we're not just going to do a half. We're going to do 15 and turn it into 17. So now I've set the bar too high because Christmas is coming out and
might as well do a marathon.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a marathon. I've only done one marathon ever.
You've done one more than me.
One marathon. And it was horrible.
I bet.
It was horrible. Yeah, so I might need to do water on that.
Yeah, so when we were at the gym, we used to both work at a gym called The Gym, and that's when Dr. Ben was there.
Yep.
And one day he came out on the floor and he's like, hey, I'm doing this cross-training thing where, bodybuilders and fighters are going to run a half a marathon, and then like triathletes are going to come in and do a sparring session and hit mitts and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, and he's just looking at me. I'm like, I'll let you know if I think of anybody.
Didn't you start running?
So briefly? He's like, no, like I'm asking you to do it. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in doing it. Like, that's not my thing. And he's like, that's the whole point. So I went out and I bought a pair of Brooks and I ran 97 training miles. I don't know if you remember a lady named Christina. She was an ultra runner. Vinny and I used to train her.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, she was my running coach.
Okay.
And poor lady, she used to come out and run with me. I'd be at Wash Park and like people are walking faster than I'm running.
I try to stay away from Wash Park. That's a big one for me. When I get past, bro, that's a rough.
And then I look
day.
and it's like, and this was, 10 years ago.
Yep.
And like the lady that just passed me looks overweight and she's probably 65. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, it was humbling. So anyway, I ran about 97 training miles. I ended up injuring my ankle. Ben started needling me, recommended I don't run for a few days. And I took his advice.
I'm sure you did.
And then, I sold my Brooks.
Yep.
I sold them. Brand new, 94 miles. Made a nice little post like it was a used car.
How many days did it take you to get your 94 miles?
It was my long run was 7.
That's good.
My average one was probably 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it took a long time.
Yeah, well, you're getting it under your belt.
Yeah, so I do want to kind of get into it again, I think, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty busy.
Running is the great equalizer in life because it doesn't matter how good of shape you're in.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's not like you're lifting weights. You can grab the 5-pound weights.
Yeah. That VO2 max that you're talking about, that has become, I don't know where mine's at, but I know what it means.
Yeah.
And that's become a main focus of mine.
So important.
Because that's longevity.
That's longevity.
Yeah. VO2 max, that is a true testament to what kind of shape you're in.
Yes.
And I want a good VO2 max.
And grip strength, believe it or not.
Okay.
Grip
I've
strength,
heard that.
grip strength, VO2 max, those two things, how strong your legs are, right? Do you still work out legs? Even for me, if I'm running long and I start skipping legs because I'm just like, I'm going to run today. I don't want to trash my legs.
Right.
I fall apart.
Really?
I have to lift weights.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a runner or you're thinking about running and you think because you're running, you don't have to lift legs, you are sorely mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, not only lifting legs, but if you are a human being, you should be lifting weights.
Yeah.
And this isn't meaning you should be a bodybuilder, but everybody should lift weights and you should lift heavy weights. And when I say heavy weights, heavy to you may be light to somebody else, but as long as they're heavy to you, they're heavy.
Yes.
And that's going to increase bone strength. It's going to help with your metabolism. It's just really going to help you with longevity in general. I mean, when you get to your senior years, do you want to be hunched over, barely be able to walk, or do you want to be able to be strong still,
Right. I mean, let's face it. Most of us aren't retiring until we're 65 plus.
I'm going to work till the day I die.
Yeah. But if you want to enjoy that and be able to go on vacation and do things with your grandkids or your current kids and live life in its fullest at the end of your life when you have time, because you have more time, hopefully you've got that retirement, you better be lifting weights. Right. And if there's a minimum of lifting weights, for me, what I tell everyone is you need to lift weights at least 3 days a week to see anything happen. Minimum is 3.
Great. Is there anything else you've thought about tackling with this level of commitment and dedication that you've given to running?
I feel like it's something that has been inside of me for a long time that trickles into everything that I do right now.
What's that?
So the running, like that commitment, I'm one of those fortunate people that I have a lot of other hobbies, even outside of my business. Like I brew beer, I bow hunt, I shoot guns, I ride horses, I do a lot of things. Like I'm not one of those people that can be focused on one thing. My cup is very empty when I do, or if one of my things is taking up too much of my time. So that dedication that I have to running is something that I try to put that on everything, whether it's marriage, faith, fitness, whatever it is. That's something that I have to do. Like for me, getting up every day at 3:30 Monday through Thursday to make sure that I'm in the gym before the gym opens so that I get my workout in. Because if I don't do it in the morning, I will not do it.
Heard that.
So you have to be able to take, I think, some of those things, and that discipline starts to roll into everything in your life.
I agree. Good stuff. I mentioned nagging injuries. Do you currently have any nagging injuries you're working through?
Every day. Yeah, you know, running is one of those weird things, especially when you do it on a pretty regular basis. Something's going to not feel great. Currently, it is my left quad tendon.
Okay.
So right above the kneecap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's fun. Due to a lack of stretching, believe it or not. Who would have known as you get older, you need to stretch more, right? So dry needling, deep tissue massage. I kind of alternate those. If I can do it every other week, great. Really just discipline and making sure that I'm doing my rehab exercises that no one likes to do.
Got it.
Yeah. And I'm one of those people too. Like, you're supposed to warm up before you run. I don't. Just go run.
Well, I could tell you one thing you don't want to do, and that is do a full-on sprint without warming up.
Oh, did you do that?
I did, and I popped a hammy.
Yeah.
And I continued to, I had a couple fitness goals, and I worked through them, but I had a popped hammy, and man, it's probably about 2 months ago I was deadlifting, and I wasn't deadlifting a lot. I think might have had 2.25.
Okay.
Right, which isn't a lot, but I'm not super strong anyway, so 2.25 was pretty good for me.
Right.
And I just wanted to keep moving, and I got loose, and I wasn't focused on my form, and then something happened to my lower back, which has happened before. I usually go get dry needled or get adjusted, and things get put back, but this little nagging injury hasn't gone away. And when I wake up in the mornings, it's tough. So I got an MRI scheduled coming up just to see what's going on in there, so I could come up with a good plan of attack to either work through it or see what needs to be done.
So the back was post hamstring?
No, before.
Oh, the back was before the hamstring.
Yeah.
But you pulled your hamstring sprinting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. I don't sprint.
I don't blame you.
I should.
Yeah.
You know, sprint training, bouncing, plyometric stuff is, as we get older, super important stuff to prevent the very thing that you had happen. But yeah, I mean, you see that, you know, what is it? After 35, the risk of your Achilles rupture is super significant.
Really?
And it's usually happening with guys doing pickup stuff. And now they're seeing a lot of it in pickleball because that's the new sport, right?
Yeah.
You get a bunch of people and you're like, oh, I'm not moving. But then you go to turn in that ballistic movement again. If you want longevity, you got to kind of come at all angles of fitness to make sure that your tendons and your muscles and your joints can handle those kind of ballistic movements.
Absolutely. All right, Todd, we're going to change gears again.
Okay.
Talk about one of our favorite things in the world to do. You've been doing a lot longer than me, but I think I love it just as much as you, and that's going to be hunting, big game hunting.
Right.
We're not talking about bird hunting. We're talking about big game hunting.
Game.
What kind of hunting are you going to do this year?
So, I don't know. Again, Cam Hanes stuff got me. I started following him before I got into this crazy running streak, so it's got to be about 7 years now.
Okay.
I've completely switched over from rifle to bow. So I love rifle, and I go back to Wisconsin every year. Grew up whitetail hunting since I was 13 years old. Was unsuccessful. I think my first 5 years just froze in the woods. You know, it's like public land hunting in Wisconsin. You could hardly get a doe tag. You'd have to apply for doe tags back when I started hunting in the early 90s. And now anyone can go. I can take you back to Wisconsin. We can get you a tag. You'll get a buck tag and probably 3 doe tags. There's just so many whitetails in Wisconsin. But yeah, so I got into bow hunting, and to me, it's just the difficulty having to get closer to the animal. You get the best seasons as an archer, right? You're hunting prime rut for elk and whitetail, so you get an experience in the woods that you never experienced with rifle. Animals, when they start to hear gunshots in the wood, they act different. You know, like if you go out scouting in Colorado in August, it's amazing how close you can get to animals. Once that weather starts to change, it's a whole different ball game. Like, they're not the same. There's something that clicks, whether it's the drive to reproduce or whatever, but they're much more weary of humans. You can see it. You can see the change in their patterns. It's pretty amazing.
That's interesting.
But yeah, so archery, I have right now, I did not pull a successful mule deer tag this year. But I have an elk tag, and a bear tag
For what's for archery?
For archery.
Nice.
For archery. So that's all of September.
Sweet. I pulled a buck, a muley buck tag, and a bull tag for second season rifle in Meeker. So that's where I went last year. I was successful. I got a buck, a muley buck. And I get it. I got a friend, Josiah. He's coming on the podcast in 2 weeks. He is both a bow hunter and a rifle hunter.
Okay.
One day I was talking to him. He told me that his dream is to get a bull at 8 yards. And I told him mine is to get one at 800 yards.
That makes sense for you.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
you know, and I don't want to debate, you know, because I'm sure, well, we'll get into this in a minute, but some people say, oh, you're taking the sport out of hunting at that distance, but that's a different argument. To me, to be able to be dialed in. So just so you know, the muley deer that I took last year, I harvested it at 705 yards.
Wow, that's an amazing shot.
I don't know what it feels like to win the Super Bowl, but I felt like I won the Super Bowl.
Question though, so 705 yards?
705 yards.
Now, did it drop or did it run? Like that hit and it like, it just folded up.
It dropped where it stood.
Really? Didn't move.
Didn't move.
Yeah, that's. I will say this as a hunter, rifle hunter for many years. That is one of the best feelings when you make a. I don't care if you're shooting at 30 yards, but when you can make a clean kill and you see there's no pain and that animal just drops like that is one of the most blessed feelings to know that that animal was harvested and never suffered. And when you talk to people that are non-hunters that don't understand taking a life that way,
right?
What that animal is going to go through in the course of its life, if you watch it with wolves, or mountain lions, or just starving to death in the wintertime, like that is a gift that you're giving that animal, especially if you're harvesting a big mature animal. You know, like that's such a cool thing to do.
I don't know about big and mature. But
hey, whatever.
Yeah.
But a clean death.
It was a clean death, yeah. All, knock on wood, all of my kills have been good ethical kills.
Good.
This was special to me because I really spent the time and I got the data and the ballistics for what I was shooting.
Right.
And when I got out to camp, you know, and this is high society hunting. Like my buddy takes me to his uncle's ranch. We got 980 acres.
Right.
You know, we got some blinds set up, you know. So am I out there freezing? Well, it depends if I don't have my heater on or not. Like,
yeah, you don't have to worry about spooking them for 700 yards away.
Yeah. So, but I got the data and I was kind of made fun of when I got there because they were like, all right, Jam, like, what are you comfortable shooting out to? And I was like, well, I've practiced out to 500. I got the data. I'm good to 500. And I'm like, you got the data. And that was like the big joke of the trip. Jam's got the data. Jam's got the data. So anyway, I'm sitting in his blind. And this day we decided to go out a little bit early at like 2 p.m. Usually we wait till like 3:30.
Right.
And as soon as I got out in the blind, I see these mule deers, you know, on the other side of the property line, which is about 740 yards. And I'm like, oh. Then they jump the fence, and I'm like, I know where the 500 mark is. I'm like, I'm going to wait for them to get to 500 yards.
Right.
And I'm going to harvest me a buck. Well, they got spooked, and I went back on the other side. Yeah. So that was like an eye-opener, like, oh, hunting isn't going to be easy this year.
Nope.
So I waited, and they came back over, and I was like, well, this is the opportunity. There was no wind, and I was just like, I got the data past 500. Tell you what, let me just get behind my rifle and see what it looks like. And I got behind my rifle, and my reticle is rock solid. Like,
did you have sticks? What were you? What kind of rag? You had a bag.
I had a bag.
So you're rested.
I was rested.
Okay.
Yeah, I was rested. I was on one knee. I mean,
perfect.
It was perfect. But the deer's leg was back, and it doesn't matter. Like the vitals are the vitals. Yep. But I was playing, and I had worship music going on. Bro.
All right.
And I'm like, all right, well, you know, I'm trying to talk myself into taking a shot. And then I was like, all right, well, if the deer takes a step and stretches that front leg, I'm gonna shoot. And right when I said that, he took that step and he stretched out, and I was like, the rest of it was like an out of body experience. It was like all of a sudden I was like a drone in the blind watching myself, and like I just see my finger come up onto that trigger, and it was amazing. Anyway, took the shot, and I was a little disappointed because like when I shoot, I try to train myself to stay in my scope so I can potentially see. And I came off the scope and I looked out, and I saw the buck standing. I mean, it just seemed so slow motion.
Yeah,
and I seen it standing, and then for a second I doubted myself, and right when that doubt came in, I just seen him drop. It was like a bag of potatoes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy, and it was like surreal. I couldn't believe it. I was like, no way. Did this just happen? Did this happen? And it was like, it happened, you know? So
that's such an amazing story. That's great.
But I will say 800, that is my limit with my 300. And I was shooting 300 Win Mag. That's probably what helped them drop right there, right? Couldn't see the entry wound at all when I got there. Or the exit wound.
Really?
Yeah. Yep, it stayed in him. But yeah, it was a double lung, nicked his heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see it after when you processed them?
So no, so that was the other thing. I was a little disappointed. I was so geeked out. Like I didn't, I've kept the organs before. I didn't keep them this time. You know, I pulled them out and I left them. I didn't look. Look.
Yeah. Gotta keep the heart, Jam.
I know. I've eaten heart before.
Oh, it's so good. It's my favorite.
I get it. Yeah. So yeah, but at 705 yards, my flight time was 0.85 seconds. And, for me, 1 second of flight time is a long time, and that's at 800 yards.
Yeah.
So with my current setup, I think that's where I would be like, yeah, that's far enough.
It's a long shot.
A lot could happen in a second.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but there's guys I see take 1,400 yard shots.
They do. All the time.
But yeah, that was me. I would be happy taking a shorter shot this year. I may never take that shot again, but I might.
You might. You don't know.
But to me, that was the opportunity. That's why I get out, and that's why I test my ammo, and that's why I practice. And it was for that moment,
Yep.
So I felt pretty solid. And if I got behind the gun and I was shaky, or if I had some buck fever going on, or something just didn't feel right, I wouldn't have done it. But everything felt perfect.
When you're practice, and that's something that I feel, if you're going out to hunt to kill and you're not going out to hunt to harvest, I think you're doing it the wrong way.
If you're going to hunt to kill.
Hunt to kill.
Oh, for like the thrill of the kill?
The thrill of the kill, you're not taking it, like for you to say you did the homework, you have the numbers.
Right.
That means you weren't just out there being like, I have a weapon that I know can do it.
Right.
Right? No, it's not just about that. It's about, as a hunter, you need to honor those animals. They're sacred, man.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. And if you, even when you're hunting, like I had doe, 15 yards from me when I was elk hunting, and I had an either or tag. I could have shot them too. Mm-hmm. But just to have them around you, to feel that, I feel like there's the hunting world gets a bad rap because a lot of people think we're going out there to kill.
Right.
Right. But it should be about doing it the right way. And the preparation behind the hunt is what a lot of people don't understand.
Yep.
And I think that's such an important thing.
Absolutely.
To really treat and respect nature.
100%.
It's take it serious. Like shoot your bow every day. You need to be able to know that when that adrenaline dump hits.
And I'm not sure if this is true with all bow hunters, but it does seem like bow hunters practice more than rifle hunters.
You have to.
Yeah. And I feel like rifle hunters should treat it the same, because I do work hunter side in at one of the ranges I belong to. And it's like people shoot their guns twice a year. Once to sight it in, and then once potentially hunting. Yep. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, you should be practicing more, making sure everything's working right.
Right. In some capacity, whether you're shooting that rifle or other rifles or some other means. I guess I would say I'm somewhat of an anomaly when it comes to firearms, because I use, I use a trigger release on my bow. So it's a very similar, I think you and I have noticed that, where I'll come out and have you help me sight in for hunting, and you're like, dude, you haven't shot your gun all year. What are you doing? And I'm like, but I'm shooting my bow every day.
Right.
I'm practicing mechanics, breathing, sighting, holding pin. But yeah, you're right. If you think you're going to be prepared to hunt with putting 10 rounds through your rifle before you go out there, the likelihood of you making a good, clean shot, probably not that great.
Depends, But I mean,
true.
Depends on your skill level. But like you said, how prepared do you want to be?
Right.
The more you practice, the better you be, the higher the percentage of it being a good, clean, ethical kill goes. They say if you hunt long enough, because I'm fairly new, this will be my 6th season, but they say if you hunt long enough, you are going to injure and lose one.
It's horrible.
Yeah, and I don't want to experience it. That's why I believe in big bullets.
Yep. Yes.
All right, Todd, I want to talk about one more thing, unless you have anything to add to hunting.
No, but one question I have for you. Did you see elk when you were out there?
We did see elk. They were not in a place where we could shoot them. Yeah, they were where the deer were before they jumped the fence, even though they were probably about 900 yards out in that little spot. We did see, I probably saw, that's my New York accent coming out. I probably saw probably 100 head of elk the total time I was out there, just not in good places, just not
on your land. Not when you had your tag. Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't working out. So
hunting.
Yep. All right. I want to talk about TikTok craziness. Todd, do you have a TikTok?
I was forced to make a business TikTok.
So you got a Summit Strong TikTok.
I do.
All right.
I do. But I try to stay away. I mean, I just, it's a necessary evil, I guess, for social media. I was not a big TikTok person, but yeah, I mean, it's the new platform, man. Everyone is on it.
Oh my gosh.
It's huge.
Yeah. So I've been anti-TikTok for a long time. I started a TikTok probably a year ago, and I lasted for 2 days and I got rid of it.
Yeah.
But also, it's kind of a necessary thing, and I'm trying to grow the podcast, and I'm trying to do different things. So I created a TikTok, Real Rebel Yankee.
Yep.
And the other day, I made a post. I was like, all right, well, let me try this TikTok thing, and I made a post, and it had 6 views in 24 hours, and that's what I expected out of TikTok. Me being a new TikToker, not knowing what I'm doing. Thought I put together like a pretty cool video, 6 views, and they were probably all friends and family, right? Like, all right, cool. So then I posted a clip from the podcast from episode 2 of me and Ryan, and I made the post. An hour later, it's got 3,500 views.
Ooh, viral.
And
almost.
Viral, right? So currently, this TikTok has almost 150,000 views. It's got almost 2,500 likes, and it's got about 258 comments. Now, the comments out of 258, there's probably 10 of them that are good. The rest of them are not. So in this TikTok video, I made a statement that said, if you shoot an AR-15 in your house, you'll go deaf and blind. You'll be deaf and blind. And the hate, or I don't even want to say hate, but poop hit the fan pretty serious and pretty quick.
Right.
And some of the comments were like, who gave this bozo a mic? This guy's a CNN commentator. He probably thinks AR stands for assault rifle. And then every single door kicker that's been in a war came out. And thank you all for your service, first of all. I appreciate what you did out there. This isn't a shot at you, but you guys are basically inoculated to shooting ARs or any type of firearm in all sorts of situations. And what I meant by my statement is, if you take the average person and they wake up at 1 a.m. in the pitch black and they grab their AR-15 and shooting in their house, they're probably going to be disorientated.
Yes.
From their eyesight, from the muzzle flash.
Yep.
Also from the sound.
Right.
Now, I never shot an AR-15 in the middle of the night in my house, right? I have seen my muzzle flash could be pretty significant. And I know what a flashlight looks like in my house, and it could be temporarily. When I say blinding, it doesn't mean you're going to be blind for the rest of your life.
Right.
Or deaf for the rest of your life. I mean, in that moment, you could be disorientated. But
thanks for the clarification, Jim.
Yeah, I think some people got it. You know, people that I talk to and know me understand that. But man, it was crazy. It had 50,000 views in like the first 24 hours.
Wow.
I'm like, TikTok doesn't even seem real to me because I don't think I've ever had 140,000 views in I don't know how long Facebook's been around, but probably a decade.
Right.
You know, and Instagram. I don't think I've ever had probably 10,000 views combined total on anything I've ever done on social media. So for it to go 150,000 views, and that's not viral, because that made me interested. And I asked Siri, hey Siri, what is considered viral on TikTok? One answer was, if it's not 500,000, it's nothing.
Really?
One answer was 1 million.
1 million views.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how many people are on TikTok. So I don't know what to think about TikTok. TikTok is pretty crazy. I do appreciate all the views and even the comments. You know, it doesn't, I had a friend at work tell me, keep your head up. And I'm like, this doesn't bother me at all. Like,
right.
Yeah, it's interesting. But
yeah, I mean, that's the craziness of social media though, isn't it?
Right.
Right.
And I feel like for me to get that again, like, I feel like it almost needs to be negative, like, to be able to get there.
Well, that they always say that negative publicity is better than good publicity.
Yeah.
Sometimes, right? Like,
I mean, I definitely like to put out good information.
Agreed.
You know, and you know, I get it. If you've been in the war and you've shot your AR-15 inside homes in Iraq and you still have your eyesight and your hearing, I get it. Like,
right.
Yeah, that sounds accurate to me.
Sure.
Right. And I wasn't going down the road of, you know, it was almost like I was anti-2A. Well, if you know, shoot your AR-15 in your house, you'll never be able to see again and you're not going to be able to hear. So don't do that. And guns are bad. You know, it was more pro suppressor.
Correct.
And I'm so excited, Todd, because I am hunting suppress this year.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because one thing that did happen to me in that blind, I had forgot my ears and I had my AirPods in listening to worship music. And when I thought, because my muzzle was outside of the blind, I was going to be pretty good. But that muzzle brake pretty much directs all that noise inside of the blind.
Yeah.
And if I didn't just feel like I won the Super Bowl, I would have been pretty concerned about what happened inside that blind.
Uh-huh.
It's loud AF.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is deafening. So for the people that say, it's no big deal, it's a big deal. If you've ever been to the range with hearing protection on and you're shooting and the guy next to you is shooting his AR-15 with a muzzle brake, it's not enjoyable.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You know? So
I personally have experienced not shooting an AR, but I also have a 300 Win Mag. And I was sitting in a blind we call the Taj Mahal, which is basically a tin shed. With windows that slide open, whitetail hunting.
Nice.
And I did not have ears on. And my ears were ringing for at least 3 minutes after I shot. Wow. Same thing with a muzzle brake. That 300 Win Mag.
I mean, our rifles are very similar. You have a 110 Bear Hunter.
I have the Bear Hunter, yep.
Yeah, and I got a 110 High Country.
Yep.
Both in 300 Win Mag.
Yeah, pretty much the same rifle.
Yeah.
You know, and great rifle. Love that rifle. But those things are loud.
Yeah.
Loud. And if you don't have ears on, and if you were to wake up in the middle of the night, eyes not accustomed to light, it's like a flash grenade to a degree. So you're gonna have a little ringing and some probably temporary vision blurriness or disorientation.
Yeah. And it's not to say if you have an intruder inside your house that those things, I guess it was more like, are you prepared for that? Like, have you ever thought, have you put any thought into shooting an AR-15 in your house in the middle of the night? And some people say that's not a good home defense weapon and your neighbors and this and that. I've done a little bit of research. 223 going through an exterior wall, not very common. Through a window, pretty easy, right?
Right.
But it's not a bad home defense weapon.
No.
Either. And depending on what's going on, it's like I have my pistol, but if that's not going to do it, well, we have other options as well. But it's suppressed, and it'll stay suppressed. And I put a little thought into what it's going to be like. So there's that. Yeah,
it's funny how you can take a clip of something and it's completely taken out of context.
There was a little bit of context. Like I said, I wasn't even going to argue with the people that have done it.
No, makes sense, right?
But, but some of the comments were great. They were really great. Yeah, if you don't have thick skin, you may not be made for TikTok.
Yeah, or don't read the comments.
Don't read the comments. I read them all.
That's funny.
Yeah. What's really funny is TikTok will hold comments because they think they're too bad. So the bad ones,
oh, you can keep them from going out.
Well,
you see them.
Yeah, so there's a lot of bad ones that, when I say bad, like funny or negative comments that were public.
Sure.
But then TikTok actually holds other comments because they're, they're really bad. All right, Todd, you got any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Oh, got to run tomorrow. No, it's been a great time. Fun talking about God, guns, hunting, what a fun podcast. So
I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah. Hopefully, we lit some passion, some people that listeners, whether they came closer to God or, they got excited and inspired to go try something hard. I think that's important.
Maybe they'll go shoot an AR-15 in their house.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it.
But yeah, it's been great having you on, Todd. We've had so many conversations and been friends for so long. It's very natural. My final thoughts for the podcast is, number one, wait on the Lord, right? Don't wait passively, wait actively. Move with faith and then renew your strength from God, whether through the discipline of fitness, hunting, being in the Word. We find our strength when we put God first. And that's what this podcast is about. Remember, we don't draw our strength from ourselves. We draw it from God.
Amen.
And that's a wrap for this week. Thanks for listening. You want to plug your business before we go?
Yeah, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a gym, come on down Summit Strong. We've got some great specials going on through the end of July. Check it out. Always welcome to come in for a free workout, try out the recovery room. If you need some rehab, we'll hook you up with some great people.
If you want to get your VO2 max checks.
Yeah, you want to see where you're at healthy-wise, man. No better test than VO2. Where do you land?
I'm about to check it out. All right, everybody. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you next week.